benefits. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you are missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to episode 444. You better bet the four horse this weekend of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. Of course, I'm a Chicagoan, proud Bears fan. Look, I got to represent people. I haven't worn this stuff in like 5 years on this entire length of this podcast. As the number one seed, Chicago Bears face, of course, our nemesis, the Green Bay Packers, this weekend. But you are here today and tonight to talk about a fantastic card in New York. It's the last really good card with great stakes all over the place at Aqueduct in New York for 2025, featured by the Remsen Stakes, which is a Kentucky Derby prep with points, the Cigar Mile, two $500,000 Stallion Series races for New York breds. There's also a 6 furlong stake race. It's an incredible card, and we're going to be talking about the late pick 5 this Saturday in New York, plus a few other really big items. You do not want to miss this show tonight. You want to stay on the whole time. We're also going to be discussing about our new tip sheet that we have on the podcast for next year, Team HHH, our second year of it, with some cool features that we want to tell you about. It's our premier membership. And we also are going to talk about our Kentucky Derby future bets, myself and Paul Halloran. We've already made our bets for 2026 Kentucky Derby future bets. We'll talk about that as well. So a lot to discuss, plus ending the show with a, I'm sure, spirited rant from Paul Halloran, and yours truly will also be chiming in because there's always things to talk about in horse racing. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. All right, let me go and bring on my co-host. Without further ado, we got a lot to talk about. Pete Visco is off tonight, but we are fully ramped up and ready to go with my wonderful co-host, also a fan of a first place team and a number one seed from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the Saratoga Special, Paul Halloran. Paul, let's just play the Super Bowl right now. Revisit 85. You and the Patriots, of course, are my team and the Patriots. Of course, you don't want to revisit 85 with the result, but how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, no, not the result. I went to the AFC Championship game in 85 when the Patriots beat the Dolphins, breaking a long drought. And it was all downhill after that. But that, in fairness, maybe the best defense of all time and one of the best teams of all time was
For
that
sure.
Bears team.
How's Tony Eason doing these days? Is he still concussed from that game?
Please, don't get me started.
All right. Anyway, Paul, we got a lot to talk about, and I'm glad you're here. Really exciting card in New York this Saturday for a lot of reasons. It's the last, like I said, last major card of 2025 for New York, and we're just going to jump right in. We got a lot of things to talk about, Paul, but I'm going to intermingle that along with our picks for the late pick 5. As we talked about on yesterday on the leaderboard show, there's also a contest through the New York races for Twin Spires. So to qualify for the Kentucky Derby betting challenge, which is a 5K entry on, of course, Derby Day. So a lot going on. Let's just jump in right to it. And again, we're going to talk about many other things as well. The opening leg of the late pick 5 on Saturday is race 7, Paul. And of course, with the sunlight situation, as we're getting into some very dark days, weather-wise, not with anyone's attitude, hopefully, starts in race 7, and it's at 2:11 Eastern Standard Time. It's a really good allowance race. They're going a mile on the dirt, very big field of 12, very interesting and heavy morning line favorite. Then number 6, Life and Times for Pletcher and Lascano. 8-5, Paul. This horse completely freaked as a first-time late 4-year-old, won by open lengths. The question is, will he do that again? Let's see who you and I are going to go with to kick off the show tonight. And you know what, Paul? I'm not really surprised. We're both going to try to beat him. I'm going 5-7-6. You're going 1-6-4. Paul opening up with a 20-1 shot in landing craft for Amelia Green and Johnny V on a 20-1 shot, Paul. Very interesting. What do you like about this bomb to start the sequence?
Well, first, you got to talk about the 6, and look, as you said, he freaked. He didn't take any money. There was a 4-5 shot in that race, a horse called Time to Win, who completely missed the break. I'm sure you saw it as I did, which rallied to run third, but was pretty much out of it right from the beginning. I think it was the only race all year that Spendthrift lost.
Feels that way.
So anyway, I think this horse is interesting. Coming off 4 turf races back onto the dirt. The horse ran well enough on the dirt at Oaklawn. Speed figure wise, consistently can be low 80s. As a 3-year-old at this time of the year, we hope can jump up a little bit. I think it is noteworthy that Johnny rides. I am a huge Amelia Green fan. I will say that up front. I believe she is going to be a star in this game. I think she will follow a path similar to Cherie DeVoe. I really think she's that good.
Wow.
I think the races at Oaklawn this horse ran, Howard, showed speed and couldn't hold it. So the cutback to the 1-turn mile, I think, is okay. I look at the race, and we talk about this a lot, as if you want to go real thin and just take the 6. But I honestly believe in this race, if the 6 is not the horse, it could be almost anyone else.
I'll tell you what. I don't disagree with you. I'm just going to show the stretch run of the 6. Well, actually, let's look at the buyers. Now there is a horse Time to Win that came out of it. I mean, the Salvation, the second place finisher, came back and improved his buyer by 8 points. Kobe is decent. It really was a pretty good field, to be honest. And I mean, geez, Life and Times. I went to the lead, like you said, though, was not challenged at all. And this race, to me, on Saturday, could be a totally different situation. I mean, there's really nothing to watch here in particular, nothing to knock. I mean, just went to the lead. The weird thing about the 6, Paul, is that, like you said, 11-1, first-time starter debuting in November, his 4-year-old year, and is completely freaks. Again, beat a good field. He's going to take a ton of money again. The major thing that I have against this horse, Paul, on Saturday is he's just facing much tougher animals, number one. And number two, isn't there quite a bit of early speed? And including your 1, who I don't think is going to be that far back.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And, I think this horse ran himself into this race, I think, right?
Yep.
As you say, a 4-year-old November 1st maiden. Okay?
And that's probably the reason why he wasn't bet, right? You would have to think.
Yeah, right. A Pletcher 4-year-old maiden breaking in at Aqueduct, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, now look at Michael Tabor could certainly afford to be patient. I get it.
Right.
Right. So I think that, again, I don't think Todd Pletcher thought that race was going to be a springboard to the Remsen. Right?
No.
I say, let's get a race. The horse is finally ready to run. Let's get a race
right
into him.
Well, he's a 4-year-old anyway, so he wouldn't be.
Yeah, he's a 4-year-old, and
right.
Oh yeah, he's not the Remsen. What am I talking about?
That's okay.
My point is, my point is, I don't think Pletcher thought that. I don't even know that he thought he'd be coming back in 4.5 weeks with this horse, Howard.
No, probably not.
But 94. I think he probably wants to test the waters, and as you say, this is a decent field.
Yes, I think it's more than decent. I think it's pretty damn good. And the 1 should be sitting off. By the way, Patrick Kunzel, a wonderful friend, and obviously does a great job as a co-host of Bet and Boozin'. Makes this point. He's always firing. Both of our teams are going to be home underdogs in the divisional round. I hope the Bears get a home game. The Bears are not guaranteed anything. They've got a tough schedule to end it out. I think the Patriots are pretty secure to get a home first round game, it looks like. So he thinks they'll be an underdog. Interesting. Against
You would think after Monday night Patrick watching his Giants perform like that, he would have nothing to say.
Wow. I can't disagree with you there.
Jameis Wilson is his quarterback, and he wants to poke fun at other teams? Really?
He's got Dart's a good quarterback when he's healthy.
Well, he's not going to be healthy when he plays the way he played.
No doubt.
I like that. Actually, I thought that was a great pick.
I like him too.
But you better get his ass out of bounds. Anyway.
Yes, no kidding. Siggy Mendoza, what's up, Siggy? Boy, I'll tell you what. Siggy's exploded on X. Good for you, Siggy. He was on our show years ago. I got him on. Really good guy. He's waiting for my Derby future bet. You'll hear it, Siggy. You're going to hear it soon enough. Anyway, let's get back to this race. Paul, I'm going to take a stab here. I think there's a lot of speed in this race. Horses like Waitlist, who are certainly good, but I don't know, like these 2 for 19, Dreamlike, who's 9-2, is 2 for 16. Some of these horses who had some big numbers earlier in the career just aren't really winning, Paul. I don't love these kind of horses. They don't have big upside to me. I'm going to go with the horse I think's interesting and has upside. And I don't know if this horse is good enough, Paul. He's slow right now. But the number 5, Playa Del Mar, who's running in New York, not a Del Mar, just broke his maiden. Okay, I get it. You know what? Look at the connections, Paul. I'm a little surprised you didn't use this horse even a little bit, or maybe you are underneath. Alvarado, Mott, Godolphin. The horse was gelded. I'm not sure why, but okay. They always thought highly of this horse. Obviously, he's an Into Mischief out of a Tis Now mare. Has been working very well. Mott, obviously, and Godolphin's been patient with him. Paul, I don't have any inside intel. I don't think you do either, even though I know he's a Godolphin. It just feels like this horse has got a big upside, Paul. He's only 3. I don't know if he's going to be good enough Saturday. He might finish 6th. You know what? He also might upset the field at 8-1. And I think this is the time, Paul, to get a price on this kind of horse, right? Because if he runs really well, I would assume he's going to go to Florida, or I'm not sure where, but he's going to be 5-2, 2-1, 8-5 at his next start if he runs well here. So you're not going to get the price going forward. He can close. I think he's interesting. I'm going to go with Playa Del Mar, 12-1. If he takes sneaky money, Paul, I'm even going to like him more. Another horse I like, maybe in the same kind of vein, but has much more experience, is the number 7, Land d'Oro. This is a Clement trained horse who is getting better. I like what I saw in his last start, Paul. This is obviously a much tougher test. He did it really well. His time form number is not that far off. If he can step up to a high 80s, low 90s, why can't Land d'Oro upset this field? I'm looking for someone to beat Life and Times. Life and Times might just win easily. I'm trying to go with some sort of fresh fuzzies as opposed to horses like the 2 and the 10 who we know they are, Paul. So that's where I'm going to go here.
Well, and that's how I landed on the 1.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I'd take a look at the 4. Why is Joel Rosario getting on this horse? He's only ridden for Gary Siaka only 14 times in 5 years. He's won 3 of them for 21%. Right. Ron Anderson's not stupid. So I absolutely want to price in here, and I'll probably go 6 deep, and then the 6 will win, and I'll be pissed off. But we've seen that movie.
Butta's in the same barn as Chowda, right, and a few others.
Right. And EF Racing.
Yeah. Love those names. All right. Interesting race to kick it off. If Life and Times wins, obviously that's going to lower the pick 5 substantially. And I'm assuming a lot of people are going to a single Life and Times, Paul, and say, okay, if he loses, I'll play the old pick 4. Paul and I are both hoping that he loses, to be very honest. So
correct.
That's how we are going to play it. Let's go on to the next race, Paul. The next race is one of 2 $500,000 Stallion Series races, which is really fantastic for the New York breeding program. Let me bring it up on screen right there. This one is for the girls. These are 2-year-old races, huge field of 13. These fillies have to be coming from stallions that are in New York. Morning line favorite it's wide open, and it's the number 10, Hot Currency, for Linda and Flavien, who, by the way, are an absolute fire. That combination at one point was 6 out of the first 7 I'm not sure if they'd have run her today or not, or last day, or actually, yeah, it would be today. But anyway, this combination's on fire. 7-2 morning line. Let's see where we're going. I am going to chalk out in this race, although I'm not really proud of my pick, to be very honest. We're all going with big numbers in general. I'm going 10, 12, 11. And Paul, with the one horse again on top, he's going 1, 10, 11. Oh, oh, that's the name of the horse. Maker and Santana. Paul, what do you like about the rail horse here in the first Stallion Series race?
Look, I know it was Finger Lakes, and I know it was in the slop, and I know it was 5.5 furlongs. But boy, this horse looked pretty good last time. The number is okay. That 70 low 70s number is actually better than anything in here.
Yeah.
Santana is aggressive by nature and certainly has to be from the rail going 7. I mean, 2-year-old from the rail going 7 is not ideal, which is why I think the horse will be 4 or 5 to 1 as opposed to maybe 3 to 1.
Oh, you think he'll be that high, huh? Interesting.
I think he'll be all of the 4 to 1. Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
Although, again, 2 for 2. People like ones. We've talked about that.
Yep.
And you can see you have it on here. He was in kind of a protracted battle for the lead here.
He was.
And never really opened up and got some real estate after they come off the turn. Then he had to hold on. But he was 3 to 5. He's supposed to win the race, and I get it. He's almost getting caught, and people will say, "Well, he's got to go another furlong and a half." But I think he had she had to run every step of that race, and the Finger Lakes thing. That's because it was $100,000 stakes. That's why the horse was running. There's a lot of horses coming in for $500,000. If you qualify, you're going to be here, and it's great for these horsemen to be able to run for that kind of money at this time of year.
Fantastic. It also was in late September, so you figure she can be a lot faster now.
Correct.
So Paul, I didn't know what to do with her. I ended up tossing her on my top 3. I'm going to use her defensively. I just don't like the rail. Like you said, I don't like the rail with a lot of speed in here. She's going to get pressed every step of the way. She's never really proven that she can. Whoops, I wanted to make that bigger here. There we go. She's never really proven that she can close at all. She can win. I'm not poo-pooing your pick. I just don't like her at a lower price. If she was like 7 to 1, 8 to 1, I'm like, I think she isn't going to take a lot of money because she's undefeated and it's Maker and Santana, and just we'll see. I like the pick, Paul. I'm just not a big fan of the horse in general in this spot. But again, she can absolutely win. I wanted someone, Paul, that has shown the ability to at least come off it a little bit. And I thought Hod Currency's last race was really impressive. I don't know who she really beat. I mean, the field didn't come back great, to be very honest with you. You can see, the highest buyer there was 56. But look, how many of these fields that these horses are facing really that good at all? I like the way she did it, Paul. She has an outside post here, and I like the fact that she's not going to have to be rushed up at all. She's the 8 in this spot, and I see a similar trip for her on Saturday. She breaks fine, but you know what? She's in between horses, Paul. Even the 10 on the outside is pressing down upon her. She's in this orange here. Look at this. She's in the 3 hole, or she's in the 3 wide, Paul, in a protracted duel, and the jock never even looked like he was worried. At all. He's still in between horses here. I know I talk about this in between horse trip a lot, especially in turf races. But Paul, for a 2-year-old to look at this, still in hand, no concerns whatsoever, and I love the way this horse finished, Paul. It looked like, as the race gets longer, she's doing better to me here. Again, not the strongest field, but is there anyone really that strong? Does it hands and heels? I don't know, Paul. Again, I'm a visual guy. I like a lot. I just like what I see there a lot. I think she can sit a similar trip. She's going to be 5 to 2 probably, but that's where I'm going with Hot Currency. You got her second. You like her too, obviously.
You're not dreaming. You're not even dreaming of 7 to 2 with Pratt and Linda and 6.5 length win.
You like her too. She costs 200,000 OBS, Paul. They meant this. They thought very highly of this horse, clearly.
Yeah, no, I straight A on my ticket. Along with the 1 and race flow could certainly favor her.
Yep. Let's quickly talk about the 11 and 12, and then we'll move on. She's country's interesting, Paul. I watched a few of her races. I know she's been on the turf, but I have mad respect for George Weaver. This is West Point IRAD. My impression very quickly, Paul, is I didn't think she's got like major turfy kind of action. I think she can race on dirt, and she's been working pretty well on dirt at Saratoga. So, and she has the ability to finish. So, she's a little bit of a question mark, but if you want someone coming off the pace, I think She's Country is interesting.
Well, Howard, when you have a $500,000 race at this time of year, and you have a horse like this who has won a turf listed stakes race, state bred, you're going to see horses like this show up in this race. It doesn't mean she can or can't win, but you know, the fact she's in this race because it's a $500,000 race. Judge Weaver didn't wake up a week ago and said, "Oh, geez, I wonder if she can run on dirt." Well, yeah, he does. He's going to find out if she can run on dirt, and if she can, he'd be happy to take a $300,000 winner's share, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's perfectly understandable, and frankly, it makes it a little bit of a difficult handicapping puzzle because, you know, the Malibu Moons can kind of run on anything, right? You know, that's the Dam Sire, Combatant, Stewart, you know. So, again, the only problem is, you know, you got to pay the IRAD tax and the West Point tax. Those partners bet, as you know. So,
no doubt.
You're not probably, considering the horses never run on dirt in the afternoon, you're probably not going to get what you should get for a price.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. I'm going to use her. I don't really know. We'll see what's going to happen with her. By the way, new person in the chat, I believe, at JWCFB. I'll tell you what, Caleb Williams is a player that Paul and I had major disagreements on when he was drafted. Good. Paul, I have to say, I think the jury is still out a little bit on him. I know you were very negative and I was very high. I think he's been somewhere in between, right? He's a little inconsistent. He's not very accurate, but boy, is he dynamic and an athlete, and he's really come on with a new head coach this year that clearly knows how to coach a quarterback, unlike our knucklehead guy from last year. But anyway,
no, I think Ben Johnson's spectacular.
Danielle Marie, real quick, your thoughts, Paul? You don't have her in the top three. I think she's an all or nothing type. I know Kendrick is going to send. That last race won easily, but that was not the strongest field. It was a very fast pace. I think she can win. I think she has to do it on the lead, though. I don't think this has any ability to close whatsoever, but she's quick, Paul.
Well, it's the 8th race, and I wasn't sure that Kendrick was still going to be around.
Oh boy, here we go.
Preview.
That's it. Yeah, that's a little precursor to our rant now, is it? Okay, should we just leave it at that? She won well. I don't know.
She won well, you know, and that far outside is not necessarily a problem at 7, but as you pointed out when you were poo-pooing my 1, even though you said you weren't, there is a lot of speed that she's going to have to get around. So I can, you know, and, you know, the Maiden Special was no factor whatsoever at 12-1. You know, the last race, you know, dropped for 7, optional claim of 75, what was supposed to win at 5-2. Yeah, I'm fine without Daniela Marie.
Yeah, open company though. Just want to mention that, but it's open company in November in New York. So, you know, we have 2 great sponsors, Paul, that I want to shout out real quick. One I haven't mentioned in a few weeks, and I really should. Matt Couture and Adelphi Racing, they've actually been our sponsor the longest time, Paul, and we got to give them a shout out. There they are. Please get in touch with Matt Couture if you are interested in buying at a relatively low price. Now, you are going to have to spend, you know, four digits, I would have to say. But you know what? It's not a micro share. These are serious people that are great for the game. They're out in New York. I know they have some strong opinions on what's been happening lately, Paul, which we'll talk about later. But get in touch with them at AdelphiRacing.com, Matt at AdelphiRacing.com. Very proud sponsors of the show. We're very happy. I've been a proud sponsor myself of a proud owner with Adelphi horses for a few years now, and have had some success for sure. So thank you very much to Matt Couture and Adelphi Racing. And also very quickly, just want to mention Twin Spires. Let me take this banner off. Sorry about that. Twin Spires, of course, co-sponsoring the show as well. Proud to have them on board. Check out our leaderboard show. And then this weekend Warriors, Paul, 2:45 to 4:15 live. Myself, Matt Miller, and Noah Maher will be 3 of us breaking down. We're going to show the last 3 races live in New York, Paul. So, and of course they've got a contest. So very exciting there. All right, Paul, let's go on to the next race. 2 big races right now. The features of the day, at least in my opinion. And this is the Remsen. And boy, we have a lot to talk about here, my friend. The Remsen is a grade 2. It's points for the Kentucky Derby. It's a mile and an eighth. It is a nice field of 12 with some very high-level 2-year-olds that I think are going to be factors next year. The favorite is the number 2, Paladin, for Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt. 5-2 on the morning line. Let me switch the banners here right now. Here's our picks for race 9. I am going to go with Paladin. I'm going 2-9-6. Paul's going 9-11-2. Paul, I'm going to have you go first. Renegade is one of 2 for Pletcher. Sorry, 3 for Pletcher. He's got Greediness, the number 4 at a price. He's also got a $5 million horse in Courting with the 6. But you like Renegade with Irad, who crossed the line first over Paladin, and frankly, a bit of a controversial DQ. You like him back here in the Remsen?
Yeah, that race will perhaps tell us what's going to happen in this race. I thought that Renegade's trip was not great overall.
Really?
Well, I'm just saying it looked like Johnny V had to wait a little bit. Then, he had a clean run in the stretch, but he may or may not have interfered.
We'll let people decide. Do you want to watch the 3 and the 7? Sorry, Paul. I just want to mention the numbers. I'll tell you what, let me fast forward a little bit here. Here's Paladin, the 7, and the Tabor Silks. Renegade broke a little bit slow, and you're right. He was on the inside, but he was able to save ground. Meanwhile, Paladin is in this protracted speed duel, similar to Hot Currency, actually. I'll just let it run through, and you can talk as much as you want, Paul. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just thought that they're all kind of bunching up here, and it looks like Johnny V has a lot of horse, and he does get inside the 5, but now the 6 is backing up, gets inside the 6. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't as bad. Right here, you see he pulls back a little right there. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it was a, quote, bad trip. I don't think it was a great trip. I get what you're saying about the 7 on top of the speed duel. But, has a clear run here, and then Johnny is going to well, you could see what Johnny's going to do, and you could decide if this is a takedown.
Well, we have to
certainly looks like winner here.
We'll have to look at the head-on for that. But, I mean, Renegade goes by, and the Pana doesn't really look that bad at all. And you're wondering, I do want to show the gallop out, though. I'm a gallop out guy. I don't know how much it matters here, but it is fair to mention that Paladin galloped out quite a bit ahead of Renegade. You can see it right there. And Renegade's not even, well, not quite a bit, but, I mean, he did gallop out better. We'll just quickly show the head-on because people are probably wondering if they haven't seen this fall. Like, what was the inquiry about? I mean, Renegade came over a little bit. It was nitpicky, to be very honest. I don't want to take a lot of time on this inquiry, but I do want to show it for people that are curious. So here it is right here, Paul, if you want to talk it through. Here's Paladin. Here's Renegade right here.
Yeah, well, Paladin goes out there, and then Paladin starts to come back in. The 4 coming out doesn't help the situation here.
It's coming up right here. They traded paint a little bit. I mean, I don't know.
That is a terrible, terrible takedown.
I think most people felt that way.
I wasn't involved in the race, but
neither was I.
Yeah. So
anyway,
I mean, numbers wise, those they both got an 87 buyer. Those kind of stick out. Although the horse I used second, I think could be dangerous here. Again, if Kendrick sticks around, Talkin could be dangerous here. Also put up a good number against a pretty good horse called Napoleon Solo.
Yeah, for sure. Real back to Renegade, almost cost $1 million. And the damn spike, this is a mile and an eighth now, Paul. Distance not a problem.
Correct.
For you would think for Renegade. Curly on the top, Bernardini, on the bottom there. This horse is bred really well. Robert and was it Roberta Lowe? Is that? I'm sorry, I remember the
Robert and Lawana Lowe.
Lawana Lowe. I'm sorry. and Rapoli. I mean, this horse is going to be nice. I think it is fair to mention, Paul, though, that my top choice Paladin was making his debut in that race. Meanwhile, Renegade did have a start before losing to It's Our Time, who freaked in that Saratoga race. But you know what? It's Our Time, the form lines on It's Our Time, other than Napoleon Solo, has not really come back great. Now, let me talk about Paladin. Paladin is bred to be really good. This is the kind of horse I like a lot, not only in this race, but going forward. This is a gun runner. And sometimes, Paul, the gun runners, as we know with Sierra, take a little time to develop, right? They're never slow early, but they do work their way in. This horse got an 87 buyer. We just saw the race in his debut. And I thought he was battling all the way and galloped out well. I think this is a serious horse. Secret Side, the dam, by the way, it was unraced. But look at the siblings. Stop the Press was okay. They're really nothing special. But when you look at the breeding, Paul, look at the look at the second family.
Oh,
Candy
God.
Ride, Quiet Giant, who was a really nice long-winded dirt horse, and the dam side is Tappet and then India. Remember, India was also a nice two-turn grade stake horse. I mean, the second family, Paul, is absolutely loaded with this horse, and I'll talk a little bit more in a few minutes, but just to let everyone know, and Siggy, are you listening, Siggy Mendoza? Paladin is my 2026 future Derby horse, and if you're like, who cares, Howard? It's a future Derby. It's 6 months away. That's fine. Very selfishly, and I don't mean to be arrogant, but Paul, I've done pretty good in the last few years with my Derby future selections. Last year, no bueno. We'll talk about that in just a minute, and we'll talk about your Derby selection as well. But anyway, we both like the you Paladin, so you like the 2 and the 9. Talking, I'm gonna take a negative stance, Paul. You're going to be right and I'm going to be wrong, or the other way around. Someone had to finish second in that Champagne. Talkin didn't really close well. He didn't really gallop out well. He just sort of defaulted to second. I know the fractions were crazy, but the track was really fast. I'm not sure Talkin's a 2-turn horse, Paul, and I don't like the 11 hole. I'm against him. He can absolutely win, but I'm not going to use him pretty much all, I don't think, in my pick 5. I'm going to be against him for those reasons. We'll see. I could be wrong. I also want to mention another horse, the other Pletcher, Paul, the number 6, Courting, who I think can win this race also. He hasn't improved his buyer. He went from 75 to 76. This was the craziest gallop out I've ever seen. Now, it really wasn't a gallop out in his last win, Paul. I mean, Pletcher said they actually wanted to work him past the wire. I know it's only a 4-horse field, but this horse is a full to Clairiere, Paul. Full to Clairiere. Bred to be fantastic. Cost $5 million. Look what they did past the wire. I mean, he was getting faster through the wire. This is only a mile race. And Johnny V just kept asking him. This was on purpose. I just think longer is going to be better for him. I think he's a little more green. But, I mean, he's asking a little bit. And the horse is just galloping out very well through the wire. They obviously wanted to go, a little longer with him. I would assume they wanted to go 1 1/8 miles if the race came up at 1 1/8 miles, Paul. I think he's a serious animal. Again, full to Clairiere. This is my backup future Derby bet. We'll talk about it in a minute. My other horse that's the other horse I like. Igniter is not impossible also, but we talked about all the horses we like. Anything you want to add before we quickly talk about our Derby future bets?
Yeah, no, I think Courting, you could make an argument that Courting is best bred to go 1 1/8 miles or longer in this whole group. And I think will relish the 2 turns. As you say, the buyer kind of stayed the same. But that was a workout, right? That last race,
yes.
That was 4 horses. This horse is 1 to 9. So I think, hey, look, there's a reason why Mandy Pope and Barbara Banke paid $5 million for this horse.
You know what? I want to tip my cap to Derek Fisher, 6'4"
Yeah, good.
You know what, Derek? I did not see that. There is a gap in the work tab. Now, Paul, Todd. I mean, you've interviewed him. I've interviewed him. You know him better than I do. It's hard for me to believe that Todd would throw Renegade in this race with IRAD if he doesn't think he's ready. I'm sure, but the missed work and the gap is not ideal. There's no doubt about that. Good call, Derek.
Yeah, that's certainly a good call.
We'll see.
Yeah, again, the 2-year-olds in December. So,
Right.
but no, that's that for a
It's
horse who's
fair.
going to take money. That's a very valid point.
Yep. So very quickly, Paul, let me show everyone I did with the Future Derby. So people are wondering what happened. So I'm going to show my ticket. I've not shown this publicly yet. I would have made it through Twin Spires, Paul, but I always like to make this bet before Pool 2 and right after the Breeders' Cup, because that's when you're going to get your best value, because everyone's on, the hot horse right now, right? So everyone loves Boyd, which is completely ridiculous. This Baffert horse, that's out of Street Boss, by the way, out of a violence horse, out of a Street Boss mare. This horse will win the Jerkins probably, but he may not have been in the Derby. Remember a horse named Barnes, Paul? That was the bee's knees. It was to win the Derby by 5. Guess what, folks? He never was even in the Derby. So you want long-winded types, is my point. Here's my actual ticket. I made it through Caesars, through some that we know in Vegas. I got 40-1, Paul. And I got to tell you, I'm not real proud of it. And people are like, wow, 40-1. Remember, we got Sierra Leone at 150-1. But you know what, Paul? That is never, ever, 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 ever going to happen again. Actually, we were part of the reason why, or I was part of the reason why, to be very honest, why that won't happen again, because Caesars won't offer anything with this kind of horse that big. I was hoping to get 60 or 70-1, to be very honest, Paul. I'm not proud of the 40-1, but I decided to put $300 on him. I'm alive at 12,300. Look, it's not life-changing, but it's a fun bet for me. I think Paladin could be a very, very serious horse. And the other horse that I want to put up on screen is my backup Derby bet, and I'll let you talk about yours real quick. My backup Derby bet is Courting, Paul, and I got him only at 33-1. However, the in Pool 2 in the Derby, he's from Twin Spires, which I'll show that in a minute also, Paul. He's actually bigger, so I put $50 to him in the Twin Spires Derby pool, because I think I got like 48-1 or something, which surprised me. But he was actually lower out in Vegas. I put 100 there. So long story short, Paul, is I'm alive to about 5,000 to Courting and about 12,300 to Paladin for a total. I spent $450 on that. And why don't you talk about, very quickly, I'll bring it on screen, Paul, talk about your future Derby horse. I don't have PPs for it, but I will show Pool 2 from Twin Spires, because of course your horse is on it. Number 17, about the 6th or 7th choice individual horse down.
Which I didn't think, but that's my pick as of now. But I really got to get more than 28-1 in Pool 2, in November. That's my hesitation there. But that is the horse that I am picking as of now. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
As horses don't run, sometimes they get forgotten about a little bit. But another horse, Howard, I looked at and way undervalued, but I think if he were the right odds, I would have. Looking at Cherokee Nation now. Cherokee Nation is still a maiden,
right?
And came east. I thought it was interesting. Baffert sent them east for the race at Churchill, and didn't really run well. But there's no way this horse. A maiden is only 41-1, so I couldn't bet the horse with other people's money, as they say. But that would be my another one that I'm going to kind of keep an eye on.
Well, and the reason I bet Paladin with Caesar is you can see Paladin is the the 4th choice individual, but I knew you can get bet, Paul, because people saw that he was in the Remsen. That's why I wanted to do it before this came out. No disrespect to Twin Spires whatsoever, but look, I'm getting double the price already, right? He's 22-1 with Twin Spires, and I got 40.
That's what this game is, right? Because it's a really high likelihood you're not going to cash the ticket. We know that,
right? No doubt about it.
If you do, you got to get the value, and you got us tremendous value with both Tapatrice and Sierra Leone. So, speaking of Sierra Leone, Howard, if people want to, if you go back and watch the 2023 Remsen, it's one of the most unusual races you will ever see.
It really
Sierra Leone ran his race, even as a 2-year-old, just came flying down the stretch and looked like he was off off to win by 3. And then Dornock, who was like paddling along on the rail, comes back on Sierra. It just, I've seen the race on, on FanDuel TV as a promo.
Yeah.
It's one of the most unusual races you'll ever see.
Well, Chad might lose the Gargan again if your talking horse runs big,
right? Especially, and by the way, Dornock was obviously won the Belmont. Dornock, very very good horse, but considering what Sierra Leone went on to do and the way he ran, you just weren't expecting him to get passed by a horse coming again. Anyway, I digress.
Well, anyway, I'll wait for I have a minor 2-part rant and I'll talk about it. But again, you look at this Derby future, you got Brandt. I don't know if Brandt can get a 1.25 miles. I mean, Brandt is right below Paladin and above Incredible. And Boyd, who is a sprinter, in my opinion, is the 4th choice, for God's sakes.
Well, the Baffert money is, Cherokee Nation's a maiden, Howard, at 41-1. A maiden.
Right. I mean, right. It's completely
Baffert
insane.
Money.
Right. Anyway, Paul, I'll tell you what's not Baffert money is the money that people are going to make if they belong to Team HHH. Team HHH for 2026 is a very exciting program and package that we have. I really recommend, again, like I said, people look into it. All you have to do is go to the top of our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. There's a bar on the top. You press it. Team HHH, you can find all about it. I mean, look at what they get, Paul. Keeneland, Saratoga, Del Mar, Breeders' Cup package, Derby package, international racing stuff with Davy Lane, and then brand new for this year, Paul, free entries into our jockey contest. First place $100, second place $50. That's happening 10 times during the year, Paul. Absolutely free. It costs people nothing. Plus, we're also going to have pick 6 syndicates. Go to our website, check out Team HHH, ladies and gentlemen. I really think you're going to appreciate it. You can make the payment in 2 separate payments. It's our premier membership. You save a lot of money by doing it that way. Highly recommend people do that. All right, Paul, let's get into the cigar. This is not the best Cigar Mile that we've seen, to be very honest. It's relatively competitive, though, at least in my opinion. And I have a horse that I think is quite interesting here that is not going to be one of the lower prices, I don't think. The Cigar Mile is a grade 2. It's coming up on the screen right now. Field of 7. There's 2 main players according to the morning lines. Phileas Fogg, the 6 for Rodriguez and Rosario. Number 7, Bishop's Bay, Cox, and Pratt, the 2 outside horses. Let's see where you're going, Paul, in the cigar, which follows the Remsen. You're going to go 7-6-4, and I'm going 6-3-4. Talk about Bishop's Bay, Paul. This is another horse like talking that either you're going to be right or you're going to be wrong, because I do not like Bishop's Bay. But again, he can win. I have reasons. I could be very wrong. What do you like about him?
Well, first of all, I think he's very good. I'm not sure what happened in the forego, but I think this one turn mile is perfect for him. You have Pratt. As I say, that literally is the only bad race. Without that race, he's never out of the exacta. I think he does get a good trip. 7 is not that far out. Phileas Fogg is a dead send. A horse who's going to take a lot of money. I really, really liked Phileas Fogg. Well, really, not so much the second. The last time had everything going. It's only a 3-horse race, and everything going his way. Couldn't close the deal. Now it's at 1 1/8. But I just think that Pratt gets the trip he wants from out there. Not going to be far off of it, but he will not be on the lead. I really think that he will let Phileas Fogg go, even though this horse does go to the lead a lot. I just don't see Pratt getting into a protracted speed duel with the 6, because the 6 has only one way to go.
So here's my thought very quickly. Bishop's Bay is talented. I've bet him before. 2 thoughts, Paul, that feel free to push back. One, do we really think he's going to stalk a horse that's as fast as Phileas Fogg and go by, just from a pure race flow perspective? And number 2, I'm not sure he's good as he used to be. Those are my 2 angles there. Could be
Well,
very wrong.
yeah, no, I mean, again, I just think he's he's one bad race in his life, and
Yep.
um,
Gary likes
now
him.
look at the grade 3 Westchester, grade 3 Salvatore Mile. I get it, but you look at Phileas Fogg, that Woodward grade 2 3-horse field. The Jockey Club. We know what happened in the Jockey Club. There was chaos in the Jockey Club that
Yeah.
this horse caused out of the gate to some degree.
Yeah.
Not to some degree, to a large degree. That would have been a day that they would have been better off if Kendrick had left. By the way.
Jeez. Oh boy. Here we go. By the way, Terry Frank likes the 7, and so does Gary Matthews. So you got a lot of company there, Paul. Look, this might be the one horse that I'm most wrong about, to be very honest. I don't like the pace scenario, Paul, and I think Phileas Fogg is. I really wanted to try to beat him here. I mean, Paul, he's been facing so much better horses. The blinkers on is interesting, like as if he's not fast enough, Paul. Maybe it's because what happened, with Kendrick in the Jockey Club. I don't know, but the blinkers on to me is a little bit weird. I'm not sure I love it, but boy, he's been facing the best horses. He's fast as fast can be. I think you can make an argument though, Paul, that he might be better going longer because I know we've talked about this a lot, right? Because it's gonna be a fast pace, and when he goes longer, he's able to relax. And this
Yep.
1 mile, 1 turn is a very fast race. Like they got to go from jump. So I understand that, but I just think he's tons the class here. He should be even money, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to be, but I think he should be almost that low. We shall see. The horse that I really want to talk about, though, Paul, is Pentathlon, the number 3. I've bet this horse before. I followed this horse quite a bit in his career. He's inconsistent, and he's definitely slower than others right now. But you know what? Similar to Godolphin, I trust Shug and Alvarado and Phipps. This horse is capable of running big races. And I'll tell you what, last time was by far his best race. He was very professional. He's had trouble on the inside at times, Paul, where he is a little shy. But in this race, which is I hope what Junior does on Saturday, he got him to the outside. He's in the Phipps colors, of course. And I really like the way he finished. He finished better in this race than he's finished in any other race. He's running through the wire with no problem whatsoever. And you know what, Paul? I think he's going to set a great trip. I think he's going to set a great trip off the speed. I'm not worried about that. I trust Junior. Is he slower? Yes, he's slower. That's why he's 10-1. Paul, to me, it's a 2-horse race. That's how I'm betting it. I'm betting it only 3 and 6. I don't like Crazy Mason. I think we both have Crazy Mason in 3rd. I think Crazy Mason is a very nice closing sprinter. I think the extra furlong is not going to do him favors. I'll let you talk about that. You agree, Paul? I don't like Doc Sullivan at all. I don't like the 2. And if I'm against Bishop's Bay, where else do I go? I think Pentathlon's interesting. I don't know if he can win, but if there's an upset, that's what I think. Talk about Crazy Mason, and we'll move on to the last race, Paul.
Yeah, I just what you said. He is kind of a horse for course, 3 for 5 at Aqueduct with the 2nd, but it is sometimes a mirage when you see these big closes at a sprint that stretch out and everyone just assumes that that's going to benefit them. And you know what happens when you assume. You make an ass of you. Not of me, just of you.
Okay.
So yeah, I think this horse clunks up for 3rd. I think you're making a mistake discounting Doc Sullivan.
Really? Okay, go ahead. You talk for a minute.
Well, again, I don't know that he's a great bet at 5-1 in an open grade 2. It would have to be open if it were a grade 2, Paul. But and you lose Rosario. That's the one thing that bothers me in trying to beat Phileas Fogg is going to and I'll forget about the Kendrick jokes, going to Rosario, who is kind of ideal for that kind of horse. So, you lose Rosario, but, this is a pretty good horse. $59,000 purchase, who's earned $657. We should all be in on horses like that, and only 4, and I'm sure we'll be running next year. So,
cool New York bred.
He's like a C. Yeah, he's a New York bred. Like a C on my ticket, but I want to, if I'm all A's to that point, I'd like to have him.
Okay. And by the way, Phileas Fogg might have company up front with the two. We didn't even mention Micah. Excuse me, a Catholic boy, by the way. Very interesting horse. I just don't like the pacing error for him, but Maker likes him enough to put him in this race. So I don't know, Paul. It's gonna be a very interesting race. My overall opinion is I'm against Bishop's Bay. I think Pentathlon's interesting. Again, I could be wrong. You like Bishop's Bay in this race. Very nice animal. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the last race. We're going to talk about this one a little bit quick and get to our rant. This is the boys' version of the Stallion series, another $500,000 race to close out the card. There's a pretty heavy favorite here in the number 2, Parker Boone, coming in for Butch Reed and Sanchez. And when he brings the horse to New York, Paul, he's very good in general, right? This horse is 8-5. You and I feel differently about this race. Obviously, I'm going to show the picks right now. I'm going to go with Parker Boone. And this is the kind of horse, Paul, that might surprise you I've got on top, because this is the kind of horse I almost always try to beat in these scenarios, but I'm going with him anyway. I'm going 2-5-7. You're going 7-1-2. Paul, Parker Boone won easily at Parks. Did not face very good horses. Did it very well. Very polarizing in this race because he's going to be the strong favorite for sure.
Yeah. Was he on the wrong lead at any point in the stretch, Howard? I was trying to. I'm not good at that either, but I was trying to slow it down to watch it, and I thought he was.
Well, he was on the wrong lead for a few strides. Yes, and
yeah.
I watched that. In fact,
Yeah.
Just to educate people, we'll get to that point. Parker Boone is the 4. I mean, he exploded out of the gate. Again, the field's not great. Let me see if I can get to that point. So he's on the correct lead here. Actually, he's on the wrong lead right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right now, but then he's right. He's going to switch back pretty right. Let's see. He's still on the. Now he's on the correct lead. So he's on the correct right there. He just switched lead. So he was on the wrong lead a good 6-7 strides. No, you're exactly right. I've just destroyed that field.
I feel better about myself, Uncle Howard.
Nice shot, Paul. I'll let you talk. Go ahead. You're going to go with this. I like this one. You're going to go with the horse that I didn't know what to do with, because there's a lot of turf horses in this race, Paul. But Spirit of New York is the logical one that could beat him for IRAD.
Yeah, and look at put me at the on the executive board of the Butchie Reed fan club. So I just think it's the type of horse you want to beat, coming from Parks, going an extra furlong, and most importantly, as probably a somewhat heavy favorite. And Michael Sanchez is a very good jockey. No problem with him. But he rides at Parks, not at So again, it's all about the odds and value for me. So yeah, this is speculation. I mentioned it when you talked about that horse in the one of the other races, the other Stallions race. As a matter of fact, you put up this kind of money, and people are going to figure out if the horse can run on dirt or not, right? What I like is it is still a cutback, even though it's going turf to dirt, but it is a cutback, which is primary angle for me at 7 furlongs. Adam Rice, nephew of Linda, is fairly lethal when he ships in, and when he puts anyone named Ortiz on board, uses Jose for the most part, but Jose's not here. Last 5 years with IRAD, 4 for 11, 36%. So the Adam, he's not shipping this. This is a New York bred. He didn't have to ship this horse in, but I'm just saying in general, when he runs in New York, and you can see for the year, he's a 21% trainer. So I think out of by honest mischief, I don't think the dirt is going to be a problem, but that's a speculation, and hopefully I'm going to get 3-1, 7-2 as I speculate.
By the way, Phillies, Doc Sullivan might scratch, by the way, supposedly, which would make sense to me. And Matt Majungan, one of the best contest players around right now, enjoys watching Phileas Fogg rise through the ranks. So
he's a neat horse.
Yeah, he's a really cool horse. Paul, here's my thing with the 7. Can he win? Of course. Am I using him? Yes. If he was a dirt horse where there's more money in dirt racing, why wouldn't Rice put this horse on dirt in the first place? Like, these horses can win. I'm just very dubious of them. It's why I went with Paul. If there was a dirt horse in this race that had the ability to finish at all, I would for sure pick that horse. The problem is all the other dirt horses have speed, and I know that goes against the 2 because the 2 is a speed horse too. So this is a weird race. I don't know what to do with it. I have a horse in second that I'm taking a stab with, True Legend. I know it's a turf horse. I get it. But there's a little bit of dirt breeding. I have mad respect for George Weaver, and I like these works on dirt, especially this one here, Paul. I got a feeling he's pretty quick. I'm hoping he can rate a little bit. I went 40 sub 45 in that maiden win. I don't know. It's a guess with True Legend, the number 5 for second. I just there's a lot of turf horses in this race, Paul. This is a very confounding race to me, and it's why I just went with the 2. It's not. It could be stinking thinking. I just have a feeling the 2 is going to be better than he was even last time, and come and catch me. But I'm going to use the 7 anyway for sure.
Well,
That's
and
it.
I do think the 7 can close. That's part of my reasoning. You know,
Yep.
you talked about, now I don't know if he's a dirt horse, obviously, but especially with Irad, who has ridden him twice.
Yeah, and Chummers can close too, right? Your rail horse for Ray Handle.
That's my price horse. You know, that's a horse I took a long look at, and I have price marked down. Yeah, you know, now again, didn't lift a hoof on dirt, but you know, first career start from the inside, relatively from the inside.
Right.
You know, the fact that Pratt rode the horse that day, yeah, I would. That would be the other horse. Again, if takes to the dirt, can close.
For sure. Let me show our best bets, and we'll get to Paul's rant and the show. Paul's best bet is going to race 9. He's playing a pick 3, 2, 9, 11 with 6, 7, 6, 7 with
So,
with
good.
7.
Oh, Scott.
So that's for my students and for the Pacific Horse Player guys. So you're singling Spirit of New York to end your pick 3. I like it, Paul. Gutsy.
Well, just because I think this value, you know, if you're gonna, if I don't want to play the 2 and the 7, right? I am
Right.
kind of doing that in the previous race with Phileas and Bishop Space, so I wasn't doing it in both races. So
Gotcha.
I think I'd rather take the stand here.
My best plays are race 8. I win bet on hot currency. I wouldn't take anything lower than 5-2, but I do like hot currency quite a bit in the girls version of the Stallion series. And then I'm going to Dutch the exact a pentathlon over Phileas Fogg. I'm against Bishop's Bay. I think pentathlon is a bit interesting, and I would Dutch that exact, which means I played the 6-3 a lot more than the 3-6. Paul, very interesting goings on in New York, of course. Everyone knows about it on Sunday. We haven't been on since then. I know you have some strong opinions. So now it's time for Paul's rant of the week. Paul, the floor is yours. Take as much time as you like, my friend, because wow, what a disappointing day last Sunday was in New York.
Yeah, so I think our viewers are savvy enough to know the story. You know, there was a long delay. You know, the rant part of the rant should be on the lack of communication, which is kind of my world. You know, when your own TV people don't know what the hell's going on, that's a real problem. So obviously, there was a pissing contest, and the jockeys, the clerk of scales was told he had to manually write down the weights as a backup to the digital reading that takes place. He didn't like that. He was told that by his boss. I don't know if anyone listening or watching has bosses, but his bosses told him he needed to do something as part of his job, and he said he didn't want to do it, so they told him to go home. And the jockeys, and I say this, and I really believe this is a big part of it, you know, not in the room that day, neither Ortiz, Junior Alvarado, Flavian Pratt, Johnny Velasquez. So the elder statesman is Kendrick Caramouche. Now, let me say this. Kendrick Caramouche is great for racing. If you ever see him interviewed, he's always enthusiastic. He's a good rider. He's not a great rider, but he's a good to very good rider. He capitalizes in the winter when they all leave. Good for him. He's a year-round New York guy. But I would be shocked if this would have happened if all those other guys were in the room. One race in, Kendrick gets a gets the room to say we're not going to ride again today. Okay. And then, you hear stuff like they don't let our families in the jockeys room. Really? Now look at Howard. As you know, I spend a lot of time covering races. I can't. I have a media pass that an old late football coach, great friend of mine, used to joke with me and used to say, "Geez, can that press pass can that get you into heaven? Because it pretty much gets you in everywhere else." You know how many times at Saratoga I've texted, like a junior or a Rosario and say, can I meet you outside? I need to talk to you. Can you come on? And there's a space outside, so, we're going to go home. We don't like the fact. See, I think they were just trying to justify. They were just pissed off about a lot of things, and they were trying to build a cumulative case. It was a poor case. Look at every owner that day got screwed because remember, folks, the horses are not stabled at Aqueduct, and they don't magically get from Belmont to Aqueduct. They get shipped, and they don't get shipped by volunteers. You pay to ship. Matt Katir, I'm sure, would be eloquent on this. Okay,
he wrote a letter to the editor that's on X to the Thoroughbred Daily News. You can check it out.
To answer Mike's question, I would still think it's horseshit. Mike's question in the chat: what would you say if the elder statesmen were there and the result was the same? I would still think it was a horseshit move. That's okay.
Agreed.
So Lasix has been given. Horses are ready to run, and owners, hey, look, if you think the track is unsafe and the management thinks it's okay to ride, we're going to always land on the side of the jockeys because we're not out there going 40 miles an hour on 1,100-pound animals. Okay, this is not that. This is. I have no idea why they are so feel so strongly about the assistant clerk of scales, but the fact is he works for NYRA, and NYRA told him this is what you got to do. So Howard, you're going to school tomorrow, I presume, okay? And your principal says, Mr. Kravitz, I would like you to do this today in your class. Are you going to tell him to screw, or are you going to do it? I mean, it's, now after the fact, if you want to go to him after school and say, hey, look, you know what, I really kind of disagree with that, but, we're not going to disrupt. I wasn't going to disrupt the class. I assign basketball referees. We have issues come up. We tell them, no matter what, do the game, and then we'll deal with it after the fact. The jockeys didn't do the game Sunday. They did a disservice to themselves. They did a disservice to New York racing, and they did a disservice to our sport because we just don't need that story is going to get someone who's not paying attention is going to think, shit, something bad happened with horse racing again. The jockeys didn't ride. So, and look, no one respects these guys more than I do. Trust me when I tell you that. But I'm not going to come on here and just, blindly say, oh, yeah, I agree with the jockeys because, I know a few of them personally. I mean, I consider Junior Alvarado a good friend at this point. Okay. But you got to call a spade. And that was not a well thought out thing. They got together Monday and solved it. They could have ridden on Sunday and gotten together Monday and solved it. That's all.
I want to say a few quick things and we'll end the show. I've met Kendrick as well several times through charity work, right? Through Kim Ware and charity work, Paul. So I generally have very good things to say about Kendrick as a human being. He was completely out of line in this situation. I want to refer, as the journalist, Paul, you'll appreciate this. I want to refer to a DRF article that came out today from David Grenning. These are direct quotes from Carmouche, direct quotes. He's talking about NYRA in these direct quotes. They don't respect us. They don't care about our feelings. They don't care about making us feel like we're the head of the sport because we are the jocks. We do make the show go on. Okay, hold on a second. What the F is he talking about? The show won't go on without trainers. The show won't go on without bettors. The show won't go on without clerks of scales. Like, Kendrick, I hear you. I'm glad you feel you're that important. Guess what? If not a dime is bet in those races, they're not riding because there is no race. So Kendrick is completely full of crap on that. And Sandy Goldfarb called him out in that article, Paul, who is a very well-known owner. And I'm not sure I would try to stir up something on Thursday of the races, I'd probably have a private conversation. But he also is quoted, Sandy Goldfarb, a very highly respected owner in New York, that said, this is quote, "They are the show," meaning the jockeys, unquote. These trainers look at these horses day in and day out, 7 days a week. They get on the horse for a minute and they run the show. Completely 100% agree with Sandy Goldfarb on that. So anyway, that was an article that came out today, Paul. I don't think we need to say anything more. They figured it out, but everyone got screwed on Sunday. And I will say this in closing: I don't think I've ever seen Andy Sterling more upset on air. And he can be surly, and he would admit that if here. But I'll tell you what, he was pissed, mainly because we all left in the dark. I mean, and it was just the whole thing was handled poorly. And you and I both love NYRA in general.
Absolutely. Well, this is not a NYRA problem. This is a NYRA jockeys problem.
Right.
Lane Luzzy is a hard-trying young guy who doesn't get. He's on 30-1 shot after 30-1 shot.
Yeah.
Sunday in New York, all those guys I mentioned are out of town. He had 4 mounts on that card. He probably doesn't have cards very often where he has 2 mounts or 3 mounts, let alone 4 mounts. And he said he thought he had a pretty good chance on a few of them. So they screwed at least one of their own, and certainly more than one. And
I thought I was hitting the pick 5 that day. Most importantly, Paul, I liked some horses that couldn't run that day. Anyway,
you too, then.
They did. Well, they screwed all the bettors, is what happened. So anyway, we proved our point, Paul. I appreciate the rant. You and I are one. We don't always agree on everything, but we 100% agree on that for sure. So anyway, it's been a great show. We really appreciate everyone watching. We talked about Team HHH, our sponsorship, Derby Future Bets, what happened last Sunday. Most importantly, the great pick 5 this Saturday coming up on Remsen and Cigar Mile Day. So for our wonderful co-host, Paul Harlan, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 444 of Picks and Ponies. Crush your bets in New York on Saturday. Take care, everyone. Weekend Warriors, by the way, 2:45 live right here on the podcast. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.